let me explain. Jordan is fine as fuck. Now, before I get into the video, I just want to state the title of the video is Moodtrix talks about discipline. Now, what is discipline? Discipline is meditation. Discipline is how you conduct yourself. Discipline is you knowing that your patience and everything is going to be worth it because you have an understanding that other people do not. Where it comes to getting jobs, where it comes to listening to your sensei, where it comes to this and that. What discipline is for is discipline is to construct you into a mindset where you become the best version of yourself but still be responsible. Because anybody with discipline will let you know that the difference between a hood nigga and a college graduate is discipline. We have argument over and over and over again that you don't have to get a college degree to get a college degree job. I'm like, that's bullshit. Because you know why? It's because they say that you can lie on a resume, that you can do this and that. I'm like, no. Because a lot of people have a misconception now. Somebody that I know went to school but didn't go to school all the way, that knew how to do all the tricks, all the techniques that required for the company, but he didn't get the receipt. And these like, oh, we're familiar with some of the techniques that you already use. This is perfect. We love you for the job. But when it came down to it, he didn't have the paper. And so I don't belittle paper because I know what paper is for now, but that's after I had to expand in mind. So basically what discipline is, the difference between somebody who has the same skills versus somebody who has the same skills on paper is somebody who was willing to take his time, deal with all the discipline, and will not ask questions, and he gets the reward he deserves because he went through all the stages that the other guy wasn't willing to do. It doesn't matter if you find a technique that's better than a company, it's for the manager. You don't outshine the master. Here's what happens when you do something that the master cannot. Oh, then you don't need this job then. No, you need this job, and this is why you need discipline. The difference between a college graduate and a hood nigga is a hood nigga is like, why the fuck should I listen to you if I can do the same thing? I don't have to go through all those stages. I'm like, it's because you are not willing to go through all those stages is why you're not as mature, is why you're not as disciplined, is why you don't put in as much work as the other person. And me, I didn't gain anything about being disciplined, so do not come at me like that. But the great thing about being disciplined is it helps you control your emotions. It helps you control everything in your life because when you're disciplined, that means you're willing to look at things slowly, that you're willing to observe things, that you're willing to not ask questions, but the journey will be worth it because the difference between a college class and somebody who's trying to convince you how to sell a pen is that they actually use logic on top of logic with not reasoning, but pure facts. It's facts versus technique. It's like you can't do something that the manager doesn't tell you to do just because it works. This is why it comes in a single file line. What you're doing is you're destructing the line that has been created. You are cutting in line when you don't get the feats on paper, but you do the same techniques. You can't just do the same techniques and say, oh, I already have the skills. What's the whole point? Because you're going to bail out on the job where it comes time where they need you. And that's the difference between discipline. This guy is willing to sit there and work and not ask questions because he already showed that he can go through all those stages and not ask questions, and he gets a bigger reward. Not because of the fact that he's in charge. It's because the person in charge went through all those stages and he can tell you why it's worth it. But if I tell you right now, you're going to think that you can skip grades. You can't skip grades where it comes to actual workforce. You can skip grades in school. You can't skip grades at work. You have to go through the stages in order to achieve better achievements. Now, that is literally what discipline is for. Me, I had somewhat of a discipline. I had to let go of some habits. How I dealt with my discipline is I stopped using so many different colors and A and V's. I actually started to expand on what makes the A and V good instead of me trying to improvise. I had this bad habit in high school where I kept on making the same mistakes, so I kept on using the same color schemes for my A and V's. I kept on using the same clips for my A and V's, and I kept on using them in different songs. The only thing that's different is that you're having a different song. It's like you're using the same clips, you're doing this and that. Even though you're using more techniques with the graphic effects, I used to cover up the fact that I didn't have emotional clips back in the day because of why this ties into discipline is I had to learn how to stop having fun with my A&Bs, stop making them psychedelic so you can look at them when you're high, and start making them for everyone in the audience. Stop making them because you don't have no social life, and actually make some clips that they can relate to so they can go, ooh, instead of like, Yeah, I'm overwhelmed by your editing. I love how you use this and that, but this is how I can follow along. Now, there's no such thing as when you do business. Now, when you do business, it's like all you had to do was this and that. No. That's the street way of doing things. The professional way of doing things is making sure you got down. The reason why I'm professional, the reason why is the difference because I had the mindset from college, but I didn't have a personal life to deal with my schoolwork. I literally had no friends, no girl, no anything, and they expected me to do all that college work where I just got out of high school with torment. It's like, oh, it's going to be better. If it doesn't happen right away, I'm still dealing with the baggage from high school. So that is my story. But why discipline is important, why I learned getting a college degree is important, way more important than fucking a girl, is because I realized I had this mindset, oh, girls don't like you for what you are anyway, so you might as well lie to them. Now, that's just a joke, but I realize that that does work, but that is detrimental. But that is the same reason why you go through those stages, so you don't have to skip steps. It's like, oh, you forgot about that. I'm like, really? This is the haymaker. Yeah, but that jab is in the vital area. And that's the difference between getting it on paper versus bullshitting it. Because, just be honest with you, you don't have the attitude for the workforce, but you have the skills for the workforce. And that is very, very, very important. You need to be in control of your own emotions. You need to be able to conduct yourself civilly. You need to be this and that. Discipline helps for all of that. The difference between a college graduate and a hoodlum is discipline. Oh, why can't I just do this and that? Oh, you have to go through all these stages and like, no. What makes you so special? You have to go through a discipline. And discipline is very, very, very good for your heart, for your mind, and for your soul, because it teaches you how to not jump to conclusions. And it teaches you, maybe I should sit and observe because the other guy who didn't do all the work ended up in a worse place. But, if you have a complex situation, discipline can still help you with that complex situation, because discipline will help you keep your calm and gather everything together. And that's the definition of being educated. Now, you have to be disciplined in order to survive in life. Discipline is everything. If a boss spits in your face, but you're getting a $40 check, spit in my face. A $30 check, yeah, spit in my face. I'm still getting something out of it, And, discipline is there so you can literally understand why they have the advantage, why this and that, because I'm willing to do what hoodlums not. I am not willing to sit back and just drink beer and smoke all day. I'm actually trying to get something done in my life. Me, I have similar lifestyle, but I didn't fail at being educated. I got fucked over by people within the education system. And you have to understand that just because my story is unique doesn't mean that you have to go to the same stages that I did. That's why I learned from people who went to school for graphic and design. Instead of actually going to school for graphic and design, I took their advice. I'm like, you know what? No more colors. Let's actually be creative about the clips that we are choosing instead of just matching the clips so it will look like just a normal AMV. And that ties so heavily because that is why I made it, and that's why I was able to network with someone on paper. But guess what happened when I networked with the same person on paper? He had me do a harder requirement. He's like, do it movie style. Because the first time he just let me record on my phone, but the next time he had some footage that he wanted me to edit, and he's like, do it movie style. And I'm like, movie style? Like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, that's 60 frames per second. I didn't learn that until a year after. And that is the difference between discipline. Discipline will help you with consistency. Discipline is consistency because you're willing to sacrifice. You're willing to sacrifice. Like, ooh, I don't want to have to sacrifice. I want to have my cake and eat it too. You have to practice in order to have your cake and eat it too. You don't automatically have your cake and eat it too. That's for dummies. Okay? You have to train, and even that takes discipline. You have to learn different traits, and when you learn different traits, you have to learn that discipline is necessary in order for you to not compare yourself to other people, because it will keep you calm. It will keep everything you have in line, and the journey will be worth it. And the reason why you don't ask questions when you're listening to someone who's really professional versus someone who pretends to be professional is the fact that they went through every single stage you have, and they know why it's better to literally suck it up, roll with the punches, and you'll become a stronger person. That is what discipline is for. So this is Moodtrix, and this is why you have to learn discipline, and this is Moodtrix talks about discipline.